millions of lives destroyed in just 1 second. With a nuclear bomb, destroyers of lives and protector of countries. Before that, my name is Suk, and I will be guiding you through the history behind the nuclear bomb. Let's talk about the one who started this all. On October 9, 1941, 2 months before the United States entered World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt approved a crash program to develop an atomic bomb. Lawrence brought Oppenheimer into the project on October 21. Oppenheimer coordinated a diverse group of physicists, including his students, in calculating the steps for atomic bomb development. General Leslie R. Groves became the director of the Manhattan Project in September with the aim of creating a centralized and secret research laboratory for security and collaboration. Despite initial surprise, J. Robert Oppenheimer was chosen by Groves to lead the project's secret weapons laboratory due to his practical understanding, broad knowledge, and determined ambition despite his lack of a Nobel Prize or prior large project leadership experience. Oppenheimer's site selection for laboratory in New Mexico explored potential site on November 16, 1942. Concerns about catastrophic cliffs and possible flooding. Chosen site, Los Alamos French School in New Mexico. In 1943, development efforts were directed to a plutonium gun-type fission weapon called Thin Man. Oppenheimer shifted from gun design to implosion-type weapon in July 1944. Chemical explosive lenses used to compress fissile material into smaller, denser form. Reorganization of Los Alamos lab under Oppenheimer's leadership focused on implosion device development. Similar gun-type design, Little Boy, and more complex Christie gadget implosion design developed. In May 1945, an interim committee was created to advise and report on wartime and post-war policies regarding the use of nuclear energy. The interim committee established a scientific panel consisting of Oppenheimer, Arthur Compton, Furman, and Lawrence to advise it on scientific issues. In its presentation to the interim committee, the panel offered its opinion not just on an atomic bomb's likely physical effects, but also on its likely military and political impact. This included opinions on such sensitive issues as whether the Soviet Union should be advised of the weapon in advance of its use against Japan. Like many scientists of his generation, Oppenheimer felt that security from atomic bombs could come only from a transitional organization such as the newly formed United Nations, which could institute a program to stifle a nuclear arms race. July 16, 1945, 5:29 a.m. local time near Alamogordo, New Mexico. The work at Los Alamos accumulated in the test of the world's first nuclear weapon. New nuclear bombs were developed after the Trinity test. Out of all of them, 2 bombs stood out as they were the only nuclear weapons used in warfare. They were named Little Boy and Fat Man. In the final years of World War II, the Allies geared up for a coastal invasion of Japan, following devastating bombing campaigns that wrecked 64 cities. After Germany surrendered in May 1945, the focus shifted to the Pacific War. By July 1945, the Allies had developed 2 atomic bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man. The 509th Composite Group used specialized B-29 superfortresses deploying to Titania. The Potsdam Declaration on July 26, 1945, demanded Japan's unconditional surrender, warning of dire consequences. Japan ignored the ultimatum. The UK's approval was secured for the bombings as per the Quebec Agreement. On July 25, orders were given by General Thomas Sandy for atomic bombs to be used in Hiroshima, Kagoura, Nagasaki, and Nagasaki. These cities were picked for their urban and military significance. Hiroshima was hit with Little Boy on August 6 and Nagasaki with Fat Man 3 days later. The bombing caused 90,000 to 146,000 deaths in Hiroshima and 60,000 to 80,000 deaths in Nagasaki over the following months, with many succumbing to burns, radiation sickness, injuries, and related issues. Despite a military presence, most casualties were civilians. Scholars deeply analyzed the bombing's impact on history, culture, ethnics, and law. Debate persisted over the ethical and legal grounds for the bombings. Advocates say that they were vital for low-casualty war conclusion, while critics view them as needless and unethical acts, emphasizing the intentional targeting of civilians in a nuclear attack. After these bombings were dropped, the Japanese surrendered to the Allies on August 14, 1945, ending the war in Asia abruptly. This is what Oppenheimer said after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought